Thanks, Michael. For anyone here that isn't aware of it, my name's Kevin. I'm Ashley's dad. And on behalf of my wife Robin, we'd like to thank everyone for coming and turning up and helping us celebrate Ash and David's wedding. Yeah, I know many of you have travelled a long distance to be here today. We thank you all for coming. It's a beautiful occasion and it's a very special day for us. Very special thanks to those involved in the planning of this special day, starting with Ashley and David. The layers of organisation just astound me. I just can't believe how many layers there are, and it just never stops. My wife Robin, the staff here at Tiffany's. Now we've got Craig, our DJ, who's just coming on board. We might mention too that 30 years ago, he was the DJ at our wedding. And he still looks like a young bloke. Anyway, there are so many. There's basically a small army of helpers, and I'll never get around to giving a big thank you to all of them individually, so just a categorical thanks for everyone. I couldn't be more proud today as I accompanied Ashley down the aisle. I think that you'll agree that she looks stunning. Luckily, Ash hasn't asked me too much advice for the smooth running on this celebration. I can remember a time when Ash asked me why it was that her grade 1 teacher, Mrs. Vaughan, broke her chair at the front of the class. I replied, obviously, she was too heavy for the said chair. Well, you guessed it. Next day at school, teacher, Ashley's armed with this information. She was able to share it with her teacher. Reason for the said chair collapse was, Dad said, yeah. After school pickups were a little awkward for a while because we used to have to see the teacher to pick up our kids at that stage. Ashley's loves and interests have evolved from fairies, unicorns, barcodes. Get it? Well, I don't get that one, but there you go. And sausage dogs lately. Watch out, David. But all these rate a distant second to her love for David. Ashley has a creative flair, a love for family, strong opinions, an inquisitive mind, and a sense of social justice. So much so that she is looking to carry on an old family tradition of joining the police service. We wish her every success. Watch out, fellas. Ash also has a passion for CrossFit, as does David for that matter. And when that's not available, she's off to the gym. Lately, Ash has been furiously working out in order to ensure her wedding dress fits perfectly. We must say, mission accomplished. Well done, Ash. We take great pride in officially welcoming David to our family. We have come to know David very well over the years, as Ash and David have been sweethearts since their high school days. I just can't remember what year it was, but it must have been junior or even grade 9. That's not to say as parents, there weren't times when we became worried or a little upset. I remember early in the piece, after school, wondering where Ashley was, I thought I'll go looking for her. So I went around to David's place and knocked on the front door, demanding that Ashley come home, only to realise it wasn't David at all behind the screen door. It was his brother, Tim, behind the screen door. Well, Ash, in the meantime, was already home. Dads can look pretty silly sometimes. If successfully qualifying and working as an accountant wasn't impressive enough, David has now realigned his talents to ensure them to enter the medical profession. We again wish him every success. As proposals go, David's creative proposal was outstanding. It involved 10 strangers who he somehow seconded through the social media, each approaching Ashley at her workplace at the chemist where she works at different times through the course of a day, each one armed with a rose and a compliment. Isn't it a hard act to follow? Amongst this diverse group was a pair of police officers that David had enlisted on the beat. This was clearly no ordinary work day. Ashley was becoming very suspicious. So later after work, David and Ash had arranged to meet at Cleveland Park. And with some remaining roses, David got down on one knee and proposed, with a friend hiding behind a tree filming the whole event. Because you can't miss out on anything these days. David has many great traits, not the least being sincere, considerate, and helpful. He has always been keen to attend family events, especially when a barbecue is provided. We feel they will make great life partners. We'd like to thank David's parents, Steve and Jill, for bringing up such a fine young man and their contributions to the wedding. If we were to offer any advice, it is to keep communicating and to think as partners and not as individuals. Not to be afraid to say, "I'm sorry," or "I love you." As I look around the room, I realise how many friends Ashley and David have, and I hope that you all have a wonderful evening. Finally, if you'd all be upstanding and raise a glass to future health and happiness of the bride and groom. Ashley and David.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hear me okay? Good, okay. My name is Stephen Marley, and for those of you that don't already know, I am the groom's father. I will be speaking on behalf as well as myself, but also from David's mum, Jill. So I've been given the, what can I say, the opportunity to speak on behalf of both of us. So it's really a speech that the two of us have worked on, a joint effort. Firstly, we wish to thank Kevin and Robin for your opening speech. The toast that you did to the happy couple, and the very kind words that you said for your new son, our son David, and also the very kind words that you said for the achievement that Jill and I have had in raising David to be the man that he is today. Okay. We also wish to thank everybody here for attending this happy occasion that joins together two very special people within our respective families. I guess a little bit of a sad note is that unfortunately not everyone could attend this happy occasion. This includes David's grandparents, Bill and Dot, who are unable to travel, but have expressed their best wishes to the bride and groom as they celebrate this special day together with family and friends. I'm also thinking of David's other grandparents, my mum and dad, who were named Pat and Jack, who are no longer with us, but I'm sure that they equally would have expressed the same sentiments. It now gives me a great pleasure on this occasion to say a few additional words about our son David. David has been firstly to acknowledge his special qualities. Kevin and Robin have already stated some of these, but we see, Jill and I see his special strengths as being trustworthy, loyal, and having a strong, mature character. David has been influenced by his church and the youth group at Cleveland Uniting Church, his school, Redlands College, including the wonderful group of friends, school friends that he made there, some of whom are here today. And of course, includes his now bride, Ashley. Sporting influences during his growing years included competitive involvement at Capalaba Soccer and Cleveland tennis clubs. At tennis, he developed a unique serve which completely baffled his opponents. They just could not work it out. At soccer, and David might have gotten this, I'm not sure, but at soccer, David, who was a year younger than the other players, took over Tim's position in the Eagles soccer team when Tim was promoted to an older age group. And he filled that role out very well indeed. David has completed a Bachelor of Business at QUT, worked in 3 accounting practices, and in the last few years has turned to teaching at TAFE. However, as Kevin and Robin pointed out, his ambition has changed and he now wishes to follow a career path in medicine. One point, I guess slightly negative one, to be made however, and he takes after his dad here, is that David doesn't really get jokes very well. So one of the things Ashley's going to need, if she hasn't already realised, is to make sure that she explains these jokes to him. Following on from Kevin and Robin's speech, David has indeed been surrounded by love since he was born. He was the youngest of 4 children in his family, who all doted on him, happily observing the antics of the older siblings, which kept him entertained. So he didn't need very much involvement from his mum and I. Both Jill and I are very proud of our son David, particularly, and this is probably the best thing that we're proud of him for, in choosing Ashley as his partner in life. We would now like to say a few words about Ashley. Firstly, Kevin and Robin, we agree with you. Ashley is an absolutely stunning bride, as well as being a beautiful one. Ashley came into our lives, similar to your experience, when they were both attending high school together, and there has never been anybody else for our son. Kevin and Robin, you spoke about David's romantic, streak with the engagement. What came to mind with Jill and I was, prior to that, on a particular Valentine's Day, early in their friendship. What David did was to set out many small candles, and I did have an example here. And it's one of those candles that don't fall over very easily, so he had many of those. And he set them out in the backyard in the shape of a heart. And then he lit the candles, then escorted Ashley onto the back deck, which overlooks the candles all lit in a heart shape in the backyard, to view his romantic gesture. I knew then that, that David was really serious about this young girl that's come into his life. Ashley has always been a polite and steady influence in David's life, and we are extremely happy to welcome her to our extended family. We know they will support each other, listen to each other, respect and love each other as the years roll on. We wish them all the happiness in their future together and assure them of our support. Just finally, and this is a late addition to my speech. I hadn't initially prepared for this, but sometimes fate happens. And I found myself in Maleny this morning, browsing through bookshops, and I happened to see a book there that was called Dance Me to the End of Love, and it was about the poetry of Leonard Cohen. And there's a few words in there that I think is particularly relevant to this occasion that I just would like to finish up with. So just excuse me while I find the actual page. And David, this is perhaps direct advice to you. I'm looking for the middle page there. Here we are. Okay, so this is the book here. I will be giving it to them as a gift. But in the middle page it says, "Dance me to the wedding now, dance me on and on, dance me very tenderly, and dance me very long." So that's my final words for David for a very long and successful marriage. So it's time to have another toast. So let's raise our glasses again to Ashley and David, wishing them both future happiness and good fortune in their married life together. To Ashley and David.
Good evening. Forgive me for the lack of humour in my speech. I don't understand it.
Wow, that's good.
I've already got him laughing in the first line, Dad. I just want to start off by, you know what, it's a bit traditional having the groom giving the speech on behalf of the bride. And we haven't discussed it, but I think Ash would probably appreciate the chance at demonstrating the equality in our relationship. Do you want to improvise one instead and I'll sit down?
No, I'm good. I'm really good. I think so. Thank you.
That's all right. We do that all the time, mess with each other. So I'm not going to get in trouble later. On behalf of my new wife and I, we would like to thank all of our guests for making today an incredible one. We will never forget that you were all here celebrating with us, and for all the gifts, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm sure there's a lot of them. Well, Ash won't forget anyway. For my sake, please make sure you have yourself immortalised by milk photography or by somebody's smartphone. And for all of you techno-whiz peeps, I'm counting on you here, Dad. I'd like you to use the hashtag #HappilyEverMarley, and if you're wondering about the spelling and stuff, it's just on the blackboard at the front here. You're welcome to post food pics or duck lip shots. Speaking of the food, we wouldn't be able to experience this extravagant fare if it wasn't for Kevin, Robin, Stephen and Jill. And we just want to express our thanks for that. Thank you so much for your aid, all of you, and not just financially, but in the planning and emotional support. That was very valuable to us. Ashley would particularly like to thank her parents for all of their assistance and their patience. To my mum, thank you for imparting the sense I needed to recognise a keeper when I met one. To my dad, thank you for going to a bridal expo for us. on his own, before Ash even went to one. It was excellent. He entered a competition and he won us a voucher for the string quartet, so you can thank him for that. And Robin, she extended the time that they were here. I would also like to acknowledge the absence of my dear Nana and Granddad, William and Dorothy Marsden. Their presence has been missed today, and we know they'd be here if they could. Kevin and Robin, thank you for giving me your blessing to propose to your daughter. Many of the qualities I admire in her are a direct result of your parenting. I just knew that she was going to be the one for me when I asked her what her interests were, and she stated cheese. Life partner, yeah. That is the first thing I thought of when addressing the things you appreciate about your wife, ... in this speech. In her defense, though, we were in grade 10, and cheese is delicious. Stop laughing, I don't have humour. Isn't it odd, though, how difficult it can actually be to list the things that make someone important to you? Weddings can be a great time to do this, something of a reminder for all us couples, or even just between friends. In the 10 years or so that I've known Ash, we've become so integral to each other's life that sometimes it's like some kind of weird symbiosis.
Thanks.
And yet here I was having to articulate exactly why we meld so well, and I was at a total loss for actual words. I didn't have any. Instead, what I had was feelings, and I've done what I can to translate them, but I think we're going to lose some of the scope in it, so bear with me. Ash, I'm in love with the way you smile. Not your fake selfie smile. And not the, oh God, it's another customer coming smile. The genuine article, that one right there. I will spend the rest of my years on this earth teasing out that smile as many times as I can. I adore your sense of humour. It's a bit cheeky, but that's just the way that I like it. I admire your pride and the way you can let go of it when you need to. I need to learn more of that. I ogle at your beauty. I know aesthetic compliments from me sometimes fall short or sound a bit insincere, but I definitely need to list this one tonight. I think I heard one or two people before saying how good you look tonight. I think you look beautiful half asleep and drooling. Tonight, it is legitimately difficult looking away from you long enough to glance at my notes. I aspire to your level of determination, and I appreciate how silly you can be. You add fun, variety, you add spice, a dash of sugar in the daily routine. I am in love with you. Every thought, every fibre, every shred of your personality is precious to me as water. You are needed, loved, and appreciated, and I am proud to be your husband. I have more, but I know that the best thing I can do for her right now is ensure a timely dessert. I'll move on with this speech. I just wrote down some of your flaws we could work on together. And could you just move Ash's knife a bit away? Thank you. I'll leave that one.
I still got a fork.
I knew I should have used the lectern. All right, of course, being a married man, I'm now physically unable to see this. But this morning I noticed you bridesmaids were looking pretty hot. Single guys, my apologies, but they are all taken. Thank you, girls, for supporting Ash today and for all of the effort you put in to prepare for it. The amount of shopping that you did. I could never be a bridesmaid. Ash highly cherishes all of your friendships. Thank you. Boys, thanks for the company. You pretty much did nothing. Actually, yeah, the Bucks. They planned the entire Bucks. They paid for it. They got me there. I had a lot of fun. And you bought suits. That was great. Not to mention making yourselves available for rehearsals and whatnot. I really appreciate that. Thanks, guys. I've got you guys a little token of my appreciation. I'll give it to you after. Matt, your gift is contingent on how much I like your speech. A big thank you to Reverend Peter Elliott. Where are you, Reverend Peter Elliott? A big thank you, Reverend Peter Elliott. He already mentioned that he married my sister Leah and her husband Lincoln back in 2005, I think. It's been great to have you here for ours. Thank you, Mr. Michael Burgess, for agreeing to be MC tonight. He's been great, hasn't he, guys? Let's just give him a round of applause. I also want to thank his wife, Lisa, for allowing him to be away from her all night. And thank you to our drivers, Roy and to Liam. You guys did a great job getting the girls to the chapel on time. Any longer, I think everyone would have passed out, not just me. And finally, a thank you to the Tiffany's admin staff, waiters, and everyone else, the chefs, just everyone I haven't mentioned. Photographer, videographer, I'm sorry if I've missed people. Ash and I are very grateful for the venue that we've had here and the experience that we've got. All right, that's enough. It's dinner time. Ash and I will do our utmost to share a few words with everyone tonight. But if for some reason you are missed, please accept our thanks now for being here, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of the evening.
So I was lucky enough to be there the day that Dave proposed to Ash, as mentioned before by Kevin. I was down at the park in Cleveland. I was told to hide and take photos as he got down on one knee. It was a typical organised David event, with everything from where I should hide to where I should run closer to take photos all sorted out beforehand. What appeared to be a fairly calm David when he went to pick up Ash returned a not-so-calm pre-proposal David. However, it did not work out that way, parking in the wrong spot and exposing me to Ash. Thankfully, I don't think she realised it was me.
No.
She didn't. It's all good. A tradie in a bright shirt. And here we are today. Before I go any further, I'd like to say that the bridesmaids look stunning today. And Ash, yes? And Ash, you are beautiful as always. And Dave? Nice. 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 Okay. I've known David for around 16 years, and during that time we have done plenty of memorable and silly things together. I can remember the many hour-long trips up the highway with the sole intention of getting a Beefy's meat pie, which if you hadn't had before, they're fantastic. I remember the afternoon filming our cooking show, Cooking with David, in which David made a chocolate cake from scratch. Ashley, you're a very lucky woman to have a man with the cooking talents of David. It didn't leak into the oven at all. I remember being at a day camp one year. It was 1 litre per group, but we refused unless we were leaders together, which went down well. I remember how we bonded over video games. 16 years later, and we still play. I remember the many LAN parties we have had. For those unaware, a LAN party is where people get together and play computer games. It's a lot of fun. Should all try it. We have a shared love for Juice of Orange and our endless Calvin Klein pose pictures. One day we'll make that calendar. We will. We volunteered to do security at our church in Cleveland Christmas lights, and we've also prank called a few people off the church phone from the cry room. Sorry, Dad. Good time to say that. I don't remember exactly when Ashley came into the picture, but I do remember when David and I were at day camp, he couldn't stay off his phone. Dave once told me that when he first met Ash, they had a conversation about what music they were into. David pretended to be interested in the same music and went home and downloaded all of them just to impress you. Did you know that? You didn't know that?
No.
Oops. Sorry, Dave. They're good songs, though.
Yes.
When David and Ash first started dating, they didn't mind me third wheeling on their dates, and in return, Ash didn't mind me going on dates with David. Ash, you have chosen a great man to spend the rest of your life with. I can't think of a single couple more perfect for one another. It's been great being part of both of your lives and watching you grow as a couple. You have both always been there for me, and I'm so supportive. You've both always been there for me and been so supportive during the ups and the downs, and I'll always be thankful for that. One of the many passions David and I share in life is Lord of the Rings. So I thought there's no better fitting way to finish this speech than with the quote from Lord of the Rings. It's actually pretty fitting. I would rather spend one lifetime with you than face all the ages of this world alone. So please join me in raising glasses to Mr. and Mrs. Marley. Cheers.
Okay, so hi, my name is Ange, and I have the privilege of being Ash's maid of honour on this incredible day, a bit closer, incredible day in her life. So I met Ash at school when I first started going to Redlands College in year 11. And even though we were friends then, we definitely were not the close friends we are today. Our friendship really started developing when we started going to the same gym. I don't even know why I joined the gym, because I never did anything there anyways. But when Ash found out we both went to the same gym, we started going together, and Ash started being my gym partner. And eventually we went more regularly, and then Ash wanted to take me to a CrossFit, which from then we were pretty much inseparable. Whew. So, the first time I met David, I remember sitting at school eating lunch with Ash and our other friends, and then every now and then we would get some random guy sitting with us who wouldn't say much at all. But I soon figured out he took an intense liking to Ash. From then on, I couldn't imagine Ash and David ever being apart. Since high school, they've been drawn to each other, and as I stand here today on the 17th of January 2015, finally saying it, so many years have gone by and their relationship has gotten so much stronger. To me, this is a day Ash and David have been waiting for many years, and so have I. Ash, you look absolutely stunning. Your personality is so quirky and cute, and I can see why David has never let you go. David, you're an awesome guy with just as great personality and look really good today. CrossFit is paying off. Although you made fun of me because of my weird words, I said, because of my accent, I'll forgive you. I really think you guys make the perfect couple, and I can't imagine either of you being with anyone else. Sorry, I get so emotional. This is the perfect fairy tale love story, and you have just completed it by having such a beautiful day where you now can start the rest of your lives as a married couple. I don't have much advice about marriage for you because I'm not married, but I will say just keep doing what you're both doing, because it's definitely working. Never stop loving each other the way you do now. I look so forward to the future for these two. They are a perfect match, and I know that they will remain not only lovers, but friends for the rest of their lives. They just seem to have that certain something about them, and I know that there will truly be a match made in heaven. So once again, sorry, don't have to stand, just raise your glasses. If ever you are to enjoy life, now is the time Today should always be your most wonderful day. Let today be the building block for all the years to come, and may your home and heart be filled with your laughter and that of your children as well for all the days of your life. I love you guys. Congratulations. Thank you.